Shao Jung was a brilliant philosopher, one of the founders of the Neo-Confucian school around the year 1000. He was also a famed scholar of the I Ching, and perhaps the greatest I Ching diviner to ever live. One winter's evening, he and his son were sitting by the fire when they were interrupted by footsteps on the porch and knocks on the door. "Quick," he said to his son, "using the plum blossom method, please tell me, who is at the door and why?" His son replied, "There were 6 footsteps representing metal and 4 knocks representing wood. Wood and metal together fashion a hoe, therefore I believe a neighbor is at the door wishing to borrow a hoe." "Very good," his father replied, "but it is winter. What need has anyone with a hoe?" In divination, you must always take into consideration the time and circumstances. Therefore, I believe it is a neighbor at the door, wishing to borrow an axe for chopping firewood. And the story concludes, so it was. This story is instructive on several levels, not least of which is its focus on the unknown within the present moment. When I was a boy in rural Ohio, all the children I knew practiced dowsing, mimicking the efforts of our parents to locate water underground. We fashioned our divining rods out of forks of cherry wood as the adults did, falling naturally and normally into the tradition of water witching, as it was often called. No one was looking for future water. The quest was for hidden water that could be tapped now. When the Oracle of Delphi was asked if there was anyone in Athens wiser than Socrates, it was not being asked about a future wise person. And when it replied in the negative, it was seeing the hidden within the present, since Socrates was well known for claiming that he knew nothing. I am not saying that divination never involves questions about future events, but the diviner's training concentrates on the hidden within the present, since ultimately there is no future or past within the oneness of time. Diviners are like everything else. They have a visible half and they have an invisible half. Just as their bodies are inseparable from nature, their souls are inseparable from the world's soul. They are a microcosm of the greater whole. For this reason, diviners' training begins with them sensing their own invisible half. Starting in this manner, with what is closest, diviners extend their awareness into ever subtler realms until, ultimately, they read the mind of the One. In practice, this involves ascending and descending the axis mundi. Which raises the question, what precisely is doing the ascending and descending? The short answer is the lower soul ascends and the higher soul descends. The long answer is a little more complicated. The fundamental recognition of yourself and your invisible half identifies your lower soul and your higher soul respectively. The lower soul is thought of as the body's soul, and the higher soul as the spirit's soul. For this reason, the lower soul is called the earthly soul, and the higher soul, the celestial soul. They are related in the following manner. When a new body is born into the world, the celestial soul descends the axis mundi and forms a bond with the newborn body. This marriage of spirit and life produces a new earthly soul. Once the lower soul begins to be shaped by familial, cultural, and historical influences, the higher soul ascends again to the realm of mind and waits to be called back by the lower soul. The lower soul, thus formed by external conditioning, takes on a personal identity, the personality, which is the sum of all the body's experiences. Obviously, the personality is not a shallow entity. It incorporates the entire unconscious self as well as the entire conscious self. As the body's soul, the lower soul is the mortal soul, whose fundamental characteristic is memory. As the spirit soul, the higher soul is the immortal soul, whose fundamental characteristic is understanding. At death, the two souls typically separate, with the higher soul returning to the one and the lower soul wandering, disoriented, among other lower souls. Separated, the higher soul returns with understanding gleaned from the lifetime, but without memory of it. Likewise, the lower soul continuously relives the memory of the lifetime without any understanding of its circumstances. Unless diviners train to fuse the lower and higher souls during their lifetime. They accomplish this by using the axis mundi to raise the lower soul from the realm of life in order to join the higher soul in its descent from the realm of mind. They meet in the realm of soul, which is therefore called the realm of yoking. This act of yoking the two souls has profound consequences, since it means that the lower soul does not separate from the higher soul at death. Rather, they form a synergistic whole that returns to the one with both understanding and memory intact. In this way, the mortal soul becomes immortal, and the immortal soul carries the memories of mortality back to the source of creation. Divination is a tradition, a spiritual lineage transcending culture and historical epochs. It is a shared realm filled with the numinous, by which the diviner unites heaven and earth. On the microcosmic level, this means yoking the celestial and earthly souls. On the macrocosmic level, it means participating with other diviners, shamans, and spiritual practitioners in the great work of bringing human nature into full accord with the One.